not queer. We exist. Lesbian, 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 not queer. We exist. I'm Belle Staffy. I'm a lesbian activist writer, a radical feminist, and a very, very busy women's rights campaigner. I came out as a lesbian when I was a teenager in the mid-1980s, and I've always been gender non-conforming. I came to Leeds in 1989, homeless, wearing only the clothes on my back because of the homophobia I faced within my Roman Catholic family. My parents even made arrangements for me to marry a male friend of theirs who was twice my age, rather than have a butch-looking lesbian daughter. Rather than be a lesbian and so bring shame on my family, I went to my doctor age 17 to look at having a sex change. Sorry, I've lost my speech.
But you didn't. Wonderful.
But I didn't. I saw a sex change as a route out of my oppression as a woman, and I know how stuck to the power of transgenderism can be. Fortunately, at the time in the mid-80s, it was explained to me by my doctor that even though I'd become very masculinized, I would never actually be a man or a male. Lesson number one, lesbians are not men. The transing of lesbians, in particular young lesbians, is criminal. I personally know women who have become trans men. I personally know women who have detransed. This transgender virus is decimating lesbianism. At 17, due to the emotional and psychological attack I was under because of my sexuality, to perform femininity, to be straight for my family, it became too much and I tried to kill myself. In 1987, I negotiated myself out of this country and the marriage and stayed with relatives in Switzerland, which was tolerant for lesbians and gays. I'm working class and I left school with no qualifications. I therefore, when I came to Leeds, homeless, gravitated towards the town dyke scene. I frequented the New Penny, Bananas, Rock Shops, and the Bridge pubs in the gay village in Leeds. I'm now banned from those pubs and that scene because of my outspoken gender abolitionist views. I'm a massive TERF. I also attended women-only discos at the Astoria in Leeds and Todmorden Women's Disco, and that is how I came into contact with radical feminism. By the way, Todmorden Women's Disco have submitted to the pressure of the trans lobby and let trans women in, still promoting it as women only. It's not. I suggest that pressure is placed upon their current management committee to do something about this. Leeds has been a hotbed of radical lesbian feminism for decades, which I actively and unashamedly seek to continue. Woo! I am lesbian, I am not queer. No. That's an insult. I protested a number of LGBT prides in the northwest of the country last year with a handful of lesbians from Resistors UK to highlight the lesophobia we face within the LGBT community. At Lancaster Pride last year, myself and 5 other lesbians had to be escorted away by the police for our own safety because we were lesbians and we were protesting our sexual boundaries. The hatred for us was really disturbing. A video of what happened can be found on YouTube. Aspects of that protest still haunt me and I was very frightened. LGBT Pride is a male sexual rights movement. It centres men in everything that it does, and it is actively anti-lesbian and is promoting male kink and fetishism. That's not sexuality. This is why Lesbian Strength is needed, and it's against this turbulent lesbophobic background that Lesbian Strength was born. I take great pride in being part of the Lesbian Strength collective. I'm now in my 50s and I haven't known homophobia like this. I have been haunted from the effects of homophobia all my life. Solidarity with all the lesbians who have contributed to this event. My admiration to all the organisers here and the ones that can't be present. Lesbian sisterhood, lesbian strength, lesbian unity, lesbian solidarity. Thank you.
Woo! Woo! Stop transing lesbians!
Stop transing lesbians!
When the dykes go marching in, I want to be in that number. Oh, when the dykes go marching in, woman I I, spirit am I am the infinite within myself. I can find no beginning, I can find no end. Oh, yes I am. Dum dum dum, woman am I, spirit am I am the infinite within myself. I can find no beginning, I can find no end. Oh, yes I am. Boom, 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 boom. Lesbians like home, join hands together. Lesbians all over the world, rise up, hashtag down. Woo! Right, now it's my turn.
Lauren, come on.
Hello, I'm Lauren.
Hello, Lauren.
So, we're really disappointed that we can't hold a march this year. We organised the march last year because as lesbians we felt marginalised within the LGBT community. A group of us attended a local pride march and were approached by the police because a complaint had been made about a placard which read lesbian equals female homosexual. Over the past few years, mainstream organisations such as Stonewall have moved to redefine our sexuality in deference to gender theory. We say no. We are unapologetically same-sex attracted women and will remain so. The likes of Stonewall continue to claim that they are for LGBT people, but they do not advocate for lesbians. Instead, they have acted against our interests to create an environment where lesbians cannot say that they are same-sex attracted without being called bigot or turf. This can't for lesbians, but as ever, particularly those who are already marginalised, such as black lesbians and gender non-conforming lesbians. Young lesbians are also particularly vulnerable to pressure to conform to the current politics of gender identity. It is telling that it is proponents of the idea that we are all born with an innate gender identity or sexuality who cannot accept lesbian sexual orientation. It is particularly abhorrent that the attempt to violate women's boundaries is cloaked in terms such as inclusive and coerce through claims of victimhood. Our bodies and our beds are not public property, and nor are they equal opportunities. The demise of the lesbian community meant that many of us were isolated, but over the past few years in the UK, separate lesbian organising has connected many of us and given us a platform for resistance. The Get the Hell Out protest at London Pride 2018 was so important for myself and many other women in finding other lesbians and building the supportive community that we are now starting to see. We are grateful to our sisters in Get the Hell Out UK and want to continue working to build a vibrant lesbian culture. As our online and physical spaces are attacked by those who wish to wear lesbian as an identity, it is easy to get sucked into conflict and into activism that is defensive. Defending our boundaries as lesbians and as women is important, but I think it's equally important that we put our efforts into positive organising to concentrate on ourselves and our sisters and celebrate the joy of sisterhood. With that in mind, we wanted to mark the occasion of Lesbian Strength 2020 as a small group and have produced a video which will be on YouTube shortly. as a celebration of lesbian strength. We wouldn't have been able to do this without the women who have been so generous with their time in recording videos, their talent, and allowing us to use their work. We're incredibly grateful to them all, and we hope you enjoy the video. Stay safe and happy, and we will be back next year.
Yay!